Hey guys, Worker Night Trader here. I'm here to share with you the ways to make money if all you can spend is 1 hour per day on the stock market. Today, the play that I'm going to share with you is on NNDM, and in this video, I'm going to explain to you the way that I'm structuring my 23,000 US dollars in potential profit in the next 1 month, and I'm going to disclose fully all the positions I have taken. The second piece is that I'm going to explain to you the fundamental analysis as well as the technical analysis that I had before I go into designing this play. If you find this video helpful and if you're interested in knowing more updates, please help to subscribe the channel and like the video. That is going to help me a lot. Now, without any further ado, let's make some money.
I got broads in Atlanta, just to throw me in the family. Credit cards and the scammers, getting the licks in the band. Legacies.
Before we go into the main part of the video on NNDM, I would like to just share the screenshot, our usual routines on the transactions that closed on 16th of April. So long story short, we made $3,518 in the week. All the cash secure puts are not assigned, or the covered call are not assigned, so we pocket the full amount of premium that we had. In order to understand the techniques that I use, and as well as the way that I select the strike price for maximum profit without taking excessive risks, you can refer to the tool video that I'm going to leave in the description below. Now let's talk about an NDM. Today we're going to talk about nano dimensions, ticker symbol NNDM. We're going to talk about very quickly what it does, how it makes money, the competitors, leadership team, and I'm going to spend bulk of the time on the last section, which is on the financials of the companies and the kind of fundamental analysis that makes me think that NNDM is a solid play in the next 2 to 3 months, and what you should be doing with each of the strategies that I'm going to share with you later on. Now, for NNDM, it builds machines and software that can 3D print electronic components, and NNDM specializes in additive manufacturing. If you wanted to understand more, please read the 2 links that I'm going to leave in the description below. Now, the first business that NNDM is in is on prototyping. So basically, they place the machine at the customer's place. The customer will have the capabilities to print out any designs of a lot of different kinds of circuit boards and electric components, so that to accelerate the process of innovations within the customer side. So the main customers of NNDM today are research institutes or technology companies that have a lot of in-house R&D. And of course, the benefit of having such machines in-house is that number 1, it saves time and error, and it can help to faster the speed to market for all these customers. The second thing is that you can protect your own intellectual properties because you don't need to send your files and your design to an external printer to print it. Lastly, because the availability and the access to print components very quickly and very cheaply in-house, it can help to stimulate the creativity. Now you can just spend 1 afternoon and probably print out 10 different designs on the go and test, see what is working, what's not working, and reiterate the whole thing. The second business is going to be on mass productions of 3D printed electronics components. So if an electronic components can be 3D printed, it can help to improve the design and performance of existing devices, because majority of the electronics devices today are being built with a 2D circuit boards. So it takes a lot of surface area and it gives certain constraint to the physical design of the device itself. The second piece is that if 3D printed electronic components are more popularized, it has very big potentials in some of the industry where you don't need a lot of chips, like thousands and millions of chips being made in certain way, but you need high performing devices in a small to moderate quantity. So for example, space explorations or even in medical devices, where for example you need to print something that's tailored to the shape and size of the internal organs of certain patient. Now, in terms of revenue stream, number 1, they sell the machines to print the component. Second thing, they also run consulting services, and of course they are going to sell the ink to the printer. And last but not least, they're also performing additional manufacturing services to the same customer, but all these services are going to be around the core competency of the company, which is on 3D printing. In terms of competitors, the main competition is coming from traditional 2D electronic components manufacturer today. The second piece is that I am not able to find any competitors that are doing similar things that NNDM is doing yet, probably because of the B2B nature of the business. And the second thing is that a lot of these companies are private right now. So if you have any information on such company, please help to leave it in the comment box so that I can do my research in the future, and probably I'm going to amend the description box to add in this information. Next, on the leadership team, I don't see any red flag. They have the right people to work on the right expertise of business, from sales, finance, and on the technical side of things, right? So no red flag that I have identified. The second piece I like is that so far I do think that the company's leadership has been quite smart, particularly in two areas. Number one, they recognize the business challenges that they have, and they specify three kinds of merger and acquisition that they specifically do in order to solve the business challenges that the company is facing. The second thing is that, like all other penny stock, right, that is under the hype, but what the company does was that they aggressively capitalize on the pump to raise additional capital. And this helped with two things. Number one, for the operations of the company, because they have so much cash right now, right, cash flow and bankruptcy is not the concern of a company anymore, and they can focus on innovating and perfecting the products. This amount of capital will also help them to pay for the research and to do the appropriate M&A, as I mentioned, to tackle all the business challenge that they have. The second advantage is that because they're sitting on so much cash, the stock price cannot drop below the cash values of the company right now, which is one of the key components of the play that I'm going to talk about later. Now, lastly, institutional ownership. 11% of this company is being held by institutions, and the big majority of it is being held by ARK. So total about 7%, and there's a 1.5% is being held by Kenso New Economics Composite ETF. This ETF seems to be performing quite well, so I trust that the analyst here has been doing a good job, and it's good to see that there are actually two ETFs that are holding this in quite a big amount, right? So that's a very good sign for me, at least when I'm investing in a penny stock. Now let's get to the juicy part. The video may as well start right here, but it's okay. Let's talk about the valuations of the company. So in order to go to this part, right, first let me talk about a concept of enterprise values. So enterprise value will represent the collective value of risk behind the core competency, long-term assets of the technology of a company. So this is what makes a company on top of the amount of cash that it has. And the reason why we need to be concerned about enterprise value, because a company can, increase its valuations or market cap just by borrow a lot of cash and inflate the total amount of cash that it has. But if we take the market cap, which is how much the market is valuing the company, and minus out the cash, we have the enterprise values over here. So just a very simple example of the illustrations of why enterprise value matters. Now you can consider the case of two companies. One company is being led by Elon Musk and his team, and he's given $1 billion of cash, right, to, let's say, craft a new spaceship for intergalactic travel. On the other hand, it's a business of me trying to grow a YouTube channel, make some attendees, and I'm also given $1 billion in cash. Of course, the market is going to value companies from Elon Musk much higher, and majority of those is going to come from the enterprise value, because $1 billion cash here, right, is the same on the book. But Elon Musk, his expertise, his team, the technology that they have is going to be valued much more collectively versus just me sitting on the pile of cash. The second big things I want to highlight here is that NNDM has raised so much cash that majority of the company's valuations and market cap right now is backed by cash. In the past more than 12 months, it has raised $1.5 billion in cash. If you're looking at the price of the share of $7.5, which I believe that was the closing price of NNDM last Friday, out of the $1.86 billion in market cap, they actually have $1.42 billion in cash sitting on the balance sheet today. So truly the enterprise value is only $440 million. And the implication of this is that because of the huge amount of cash that they're having right now, if there's a way for you to get NNDM share at $7 a share or $6.5 a share, which is just, a small percentage from 5 to 10% lesser than the stock price today, you're actually buying the company as a much lower enterprise valuations. So if you can get NNDM at $7 a share, the true enterprise value is only $320 million, which is just which is 25% lesser than how much it would have been at $7.5. And if you just go to 6.5, the enterprise value dropped by half. So as you can see over here, if there's a way for you to consistently reduce your cost average of NNDM over time, you're actually getting the company at a very good valuations. I have also done an enterprise value tracking across time for NNDM, and this is only, you know, a very quick estimate, simply because number one, the debt and the long-term liabilities of this company is so small that comparing to 1.5 billion of cash that the company has, we can take out debt outside of the equations. And the second thing is that I'm going to just calculate it based on the total amount of cash raised, and I'm kind of assuming here that the amount of cash that they have burned in the past 1 year is insignificant compared to the total amount of cash that they have. In this table, you can find a few things. Number one is the amount of cash that they raised together with the date over here. Second thing, the second column is the accumulated amount of cash being raised, which is just the accumulative summations of the values in this table. The third thing is on market cap, that was specifically tracked, not the stock price tracker, because the number of shares of the company changed along the way. And of course, the enterprise value is going to be different between the market cap and the accumulated amount of cash raised, simply because, you know, we are kind of ignoring that here because liabilities of this company is so small. See, another benefit of why, if you want to invest in penny stock, understand how a balance sheet works. So as we can see over here, at the peak of valuations, which is happening actually in January when the NNDM was being traded at about $16-ish, enterprise values of the company was actually close to $2 billion. So today, if you buy the stock at $7.50, you are getting an enterprise values at 5x discount versus the peak of valuation that happened in January. And the interesting observation here is that highest NNDM share price actually happened somewhere in February. But because the company raised $500 million of cash in February, the enterprise values in February is actually much lesser than the enterprise values of NNDM in January. Now, let's go to the strategies with NNDM that I'm going to share with you today. Number one is to buy NNDM stocks. Number two is to sell covered call on NNDM stocks. And number three, to sell cash secure puts on NNDM. I wanted to disclose all the positions I have with you over here. So number one here, you can see that I'm currently holding $42,000 in terms of NNDM stocks. Second thing, I have a huge cash secure puts on NNDM at the strike price of $7.50. And lastly, for all the existing shares I have covered call that's going to expire in 1 month with a strike price of $7.50 as well as $10 that I have over here. If in 1 month on 21st of May, NNDM trade for more than $7.50, I'm going to be a slightly richer man with $23,600 in profit. If NNDM trade at $6.61, I'm going to break even. And if NNDM is less than $6.61, I'm going to get assigned a lot of NNDM stocks at a very attractive enterprise valuations. And my strategy is number one, to hold for the long terms, and number two, to continuously sell covered call because this company is being blessed with very high implied volatility. Now let's go through each of the individual strategies, and I'm going to explain to you more the exit plan that I have for each of the strategy. Number one, if you buy NNDM and hold. So currently NNDM is being traded at $7.50. It actually went up in pre-market today, so I don't think this situation is going to be there soon. Do enter quickly. At $7.50, it's 41% of 52-week high, but it's only 1/5 of the peak enterprise values. With $440 million in enterprise values, you're actually entering similar to the enterprise value that it has in November and early December. Personally, I feel that in this period, the stock is fairly hyped up already, but I don't think the company will significantly improve enterprise values in the next 3 to 6 months, so don't expect anything to happen in the next 3 to 6 months. But I think it's a decent long-term hold because number one, they have a lot of catalysts being laid down in terms of future product launches and new M&A news. Last week, after they announced the acquisitions of DeepCube stock price actually jumped close to 10%, right? And they only use a small amount of money. They only use 30 million in cash out of the 1.5 billion that they have. Those acquisitions in the future is going to lay out very solid catalyst for this stock to go up. In terms of long-term price target, in the next 12 months, I think the stock can go to $10 if they are able to post a very good growth in terms of revenues. The second thing is that in the next 18 to 24 months, I believe that a stock price of $15 is going to be a suitable target if they're going to be able to successfully integrate and demonstrate what deep learning integration is going to do to improve NNDM machines. Lastly, in the next 24 to 48 months, I think the target price is going to be $30 to $50, which puts the whole market cap of the company in the range of $5 to $10 billion, and enterprise values, right, similarly in that range. If they can demonstrate their capability to mass produce 3D printed electronics components. Now the second play with this strategy, what you're going to do is you're going to buy NNDM at the price of $7.50 and sell the call with a strike of $7.50 expiring 1 month from now. In this case, if NNDM goes above $7.50, you guarantee $12.7 return because you already pocketed 89 cents of premium today. And of course, if you're more bullish on NNDM, you can sell covered call at the strike price of $10, but of course the premium is going to be lesser. Because you buy a stock at $7.50 and sell covered call at 89 cents today, the break-even price is actually $6.61. So you get to buy NNDM at $222 million enterprise values, which is 8.5 times lesser than the peak enterprise value. And lastly, if NNDM happen to dip below 661 because the volatility is so high, right, you can just keep selling covered call at the strike price of $7.50 to lower the cost average. And sooner or later, it's going to hit the cash value, which is $5.72. And from there on, number one, you're going to own NNDM at less than cash values, right? Number two, as long as you own NNDM, you can continuously sell covered call so that it gives you money month after month. Lastly, the strategy number three, you can sell cash secure puts on NNDM at the strike price of $7.50. The premium is so juicy that currently I'm having 190 contracts. And if you can see over here, because NNDM is being traded at $7.50, the premium of selling put is exactly the same as the premium of selling covered call at $7.50. The second thing is that with the same premium, you might be asking the questions of why you need to do cash secure puts versus covered call. The advantage of that is you can prematurely exit the position with relatively higher profit versus a covered call. If let's say in 2 weeks, NNDM stock price jump to $9, your put is going to be very far out of the money and you can buy it back for and immediately pocket the profit. And of course, the exit strategy is similar to a covered call. If NNDM is below $7.50, I'm more than happy to take in this share and I can start selling covered call every single month from there on to take advantage of very high implied volatility that this stock is having right now. So that's it for today, guys. I think I'm just going to quickly wrap up this video so that I can upload this as soon as possible so that you can start making money right now. And with the right option techniques, you would be able to obtain NNDM shares at the very attractive prices, and you can take advantage of this situation in the next few months to have huge profit. As usual, I'm going to share with you the positions that I have over here, and in 1 month, let's do a review of the positions to understand how much of this $23,600 I have made or how much money that I have lost, right? That's it for today, guys. If you want to understand more on selling cash secure puts and covered call to generate weekly and monthly passive income, you can refer to the 2 videos I'm going to put in the description below. See you next time, and hopefully until then, we all make some money.
Panda. I got broads in Atlanta, just to throw me in the family. Credit cards and the scammers, getting the licks in the bank. Legacies.